What is up, you guys? Welcome to the Racing Podcast. This is your host, Cristopher Zamora. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the podcast, guys. If you're new here, I am your host, Cristopher Zamora. I just said that twice. But anyways, guys, today I want to speak to you about David Benavidez and how he did against Demtretrius Andrade. Well, to be honest, I was missing the main highlights for this fight because I was editing the podcast while the fight was going on. Like most of the fight, I kind of missed it, but I saw a few punches that David Benavidez gave Andrade, and they were pretty good ones. Also, Demtretrius was giving David Benavidez a good fight as well, and I have to say, Demtretrius Andrade was winning the first two rounds. I wasn't the only person watching the fight as well. It was my brother too. He was telling me what was going on while I was editing the podcast. Yeah, he did won the first two rounds, and on the fourth round, that's when Demtretrius Andrade he went down because David Benavidez got him with a good shot. David Benavidez, man, he's just such a strong competitor, a strong boxer, and that is why he won this fight. He's just a good, strong boxer. Maybe his defense might be his weakness. That's about it. But his power, he's just way too strong for any fighter that goes up against him. And that is why I believe that Canelo could be avoiding him, because David Benavidez, he's a young guy. He's about to turn, I think, 27 years old or 28, this month on December. And Canelo, he's already almost past his prime already, and I feel like probably he wants to avoid him at all costs, because he doesn't want to lose against him. Plus, Canelo is about 5'8" or 5'9", and David Benavidez, man, he's 6'4", 6'3", and still he can make that weight cut. I don't know, man. I don't know why Canelo keeps avoiding talking about David Benavidez or trying to fight him. Maybe he is afraid. Or maybe not. Maybe he's just trying to not want to fight him because he doesn't want to make that weight anymore. Maybe in a couple of years or so, David Benavidez won't be able to make the 165 weight. I believe that's where Canelo is actually. And that's why probably he's just waiting for him to go up weight class. He wants him to go to 170 or 175 and stay there and not actually challenge him on the 160 range. Probably that's Canelo's plan, and probably that's why he doesn't want to fight him yet. Plus, man, I don't know, maybe if I was Canelo, maybe I would have tried to avoid him as well. Maybe, in a way, because I have a lot of things to lose, and maybe Canelo doesn't want to lose just yet. Or he doesn't want to fight this guy. To be honest, I do believe that he should fight him, because this will be maybe Canelo's last fight, to be honest. I feel like maybe he has at least 3 to 4 good fights, and that's when he may not be as good as we know he is. I believe that Demtretrius Bivol fight, he just had a hard time against him because he was a bigger boxer than him. And I feel like probably he was just a way better technical boxer. Yeah, he was just a way better technical boxer. And I got to give credit to Canelo. He took all those shots that he was taking from Bivol. He's pretty good, man. He has a chin. He never went down. Ever. Not once he has ever been down in his career. This could potentially happen if he fights David Benavidez. But it's gonna be a badass fight if it actually does happen, man. It needs to happen at least next year or so. Supposedly, Canelo said that he is going to fight this kid. His name is Munguia. That's his last name. I'm not sure about his first name, but he has a good record. He has about 44 wins, 0 losses, and 0 draws. He's about 28 years old. His name is Jaime Munguia. I think that's his first name. Hopefully, I'm getting it right. But yeah, Munguia will probably be the next opponent that Canelo is going to face. And that will be for the Cinco de Mayo weekend. Probably that's going to be the next fight for Canelo. And that will be a good fight for Munguia. But I don't know for Canelo. Because probably he's just choosing like somebody that he has a good record, right? But he hasn't really fought anybody very competitive, not like him. Maybe he wants to just take him out just like that and just try to take his all away. I'm not really sure how has Jaime Munguia fight before. I'm not sure how he fights. But a good record of 44 wins, that's a lot, man. You're just 6 more fights away from Mayweather's record, which is 50-0. He's just 28 years old. He could potentially make that when he's around probably 34 or 35 years old. If he doesn't fight Canelo Alvarez. Because I feel like Canelo, man, is just at his prime and he could just take out anyone. But I believe that David Benavidez is not the guy that he can take out. Because of his reach, because how tall he is, and how strong he is. And he's a little bit more faster than him as well. And that's why probably Canelo is trying to avoid him at all costs. David Benavidez is a problem for him, man. First, Mike Tyson called him the Mexican monster because he's just a monster, man. He's just a monster. But now he just calls himself the monster because he's half Mexican and half Ecuadorian, David Benavidez. So yeah, it makes sense, man. He lives up to that name. He is a monster in the ring. And that's why Canelo wants to avoid him at all costs. He shouldn't, man. He shouldn't. Give him the fight that he wants, Canelo. It is time, man. There's no more hiding. You have to give this guy the fight. He has been the number 1 contender, the next on the list for you for the longest. Since probably 2021 or so, he's been the next person on the list for Canelo to fight. But he has been avoiding him at all costs. It's time, man. It's time. Everybody has been waiting for that fight for the longest. It needs to happen very soon. Yeah, man. That's the fight to make for next year. If he doesn't fight him on Cinco de Mayo weekend, then it should be around September time. Then that should be like September time or around October time. That should be the next fight for Canelo after he fights Munguia. Munguia will probably be his next opponent. To be honest, I really don't know how Munguia fights. But like I said, a 44-0 record, that's very good, man. You have fought almost every kind of fighter in the ring. You have fought a technical boxer. You might have fought a brawler, a counterpuncher. You have fought all these types of fighters. Then you're just probably that good, right? Well, we don't know once Munguia actually fights Canelo and how he actually takes his punches. We don't know yet, but maybe that is going to be Canelo's next fight. I'm going for Canelo for that fight. Well, it is kind of biased, you know. It is kind of biased that I'm going for Canelo, so I have to do research for Jaime Munguia. I need to look at his footage before I can actually make a decision. or else I'm just being biased, you know. So yeah, it doesn't make sense to choose Canelo. I had to see Munguia's boxing to see how he does against opponents. But yeah, man, let's see how it goes for Munguia versus Canelo. That probably is going to be the next fight for Cinco de Mayo weekend. And now switching gears, guys. I want to speak to you about Ryan Garcia versus Oscar Duarte. It says right here that Oscar Duarte, he has had 26 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie. From those wins, he has had 21 KOs. 21 KOs. That's a very good ratio of KOing people. It's an 80.77% ratio score of KOs. That's a very good rating, man. This could potentially be a problem for Ryan Garcia. I don't think this guy is a slouch, man. I don't think he's not going to fight. He's going to go for a fight, man. He's going to go to take this guy's head out. He's going to try to KO Garcia. I do believe that, man. With a guy that has 21 KOs with 26 wins, that's a dangerous fighter. Tank Davis has only KO'd most of his opponents, but like out of just only 2 people, he never KO'd. He only went with 2 people to the distance. One of them was Isaac Cruz. Cruz is another good fight for Ryan Garcia. But if he actually takes care of Oscar Duarte, can he? I do believe so. But it definitely is going to be a very hard fight for him. No doubt. I don't think this guy is a slouch. I don't think he's not just gonna let him win. He's going for the kill. Ryan Garcia needs to prove himself. The last fight he has had was against Gervonta Tank Davis. Tank Davis, he was playing smart. I gotta give him that. I was going for Ryan Garcia to win that fight, but Tank was just playing technical, and that's why he won. With a staggering of 23 wins and just 1 loss, he has a good chance, man. Ryan Garcia has a good chance of actually defeating Oscar Duarte. But does he want it? Does he still has it? We're going to find out. The crazy part is, it is in Houston, Texas. I was planning to go, but then I changed my mind. But then I just decided at the last moment that I wasn't going to attend. I wish I did, but yeah, I just didn't feel like going. I might as well just stay at home, you know, and just watch it. He's going to be here in Houston, Texas, which is badass, man. Or maybe I'll go see one if they ever come back here again. Because it is rare for any boxing events to come here in Houston. Most of the main events, they're like in New York and Las Vegas. That's about it. But yeah, man, with Ryan Garcia with 23 wins and just 1 loss and 19 KOs, he has a good chance of beating Oscar Duarte. Ryan Garcia is fighting for his career on this fight. It all just depends on him and how much he really wants to be great. I do believe he's going to get the win, but not by knockout. He's probably going to get the win by decision, I believe. And this guy, Oscar Duarte, he has never been knocked down before. That's what's scary too, because Ryan Garcia has been knocked down twice in his career. I feel like probably he is going to get knocked down. He's going to get knocked down at least once in this fight, Ryan Garcia. And like I said, he is going to win by decision. I don't think they're not going to let him lose. Hopefully, this is not a fight that is kind of the same thing with George Kambosos' fight. If you guys have seen that fight, his most recent fight that he had, I felt like he was losing the whole fight. Like, the other guy that he fought, I feel like he should have won by unanimous decision, but instead they gave it to George Kambosos. Yeah, it wasn't well deserved. And also the crazy part is with Rolly Romero, the guy that he fought, I feel like he was about to KO him, but then when they were about to fight each other like very, very, in a very brawling way, I feel like Rolly Romero was about to get KO, but then the ref immediately stopped the fight because maybe he was ordered by somebody to stop the fight because it looked like Rolly Romero was going to get KO'd. And that's why they gave the fight to Rolly. It wasn't well deserved. And hopefully this doesn't happen with Ryan Garcia's fight, because I will be disappointed, man. I will be disappointed if something like that happens again, especially for Ryan Garcia. Hopefully he does well in this fight, but hopefully nothing like that ever happens again. Not just only for this fight, but anything in boxing related. Recently, it happened with the Tyson Fury fight versus Francis Ngannou. I feel like Francis won that fight, but since it was the boxer versus the debut guy that was just coming from the MMA scene into boxing, that's what they had to give it to Tyson Fury. I feel like Francis did win that fight. It is what it is. And yep, that is it, guys. That is it for this podcast. If you guys did enjoy this podcast, make sure to follow it on wherever it is you're listening to it. If you're listening to it on Pandora, if you're listening to it on Spotify, YouTube, make sure to subscribe to it, and also recommend this podcast to a friend or a neighbor that actually likes listening to stuff about combat sports. Maybe they will enjoy this podcast as much as you do as well. And that is it, guys. This was episode 51. The next podcast is going to be a year of me posting at least one podcast weekly. That's insane, man. This whole year in 2023, I've been posting at least one episode every Tuesday from 11 a.m. Central Time. Damn, time has really flew by. And my next podcast is going to be number 52. A year of this podcast, man. It's crazy. Hopefully you come back, guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one. It's going to be a 1-year anniversary for this podcast. Episode 52. That's crazy, man. Thank you so much for always coming back and listening to this podcast, whoever you are. And also, if you're a newcomer, make sure to follow this podcast, because I'm going to keep going, man. I'm going to keep going for at least one more year until 2025. Let's see how it goes, man. I'm going to keep going with this podcast. All right, guys, that is it. Thank you again. Take care and live to the fullest. Bye.